Hey there, ladies and gentlemen. Tristan from the Check Engine Podcast, welcoming you to installment 3 of our segment we call Spark Plugs. Hope you guys have enjoyed the first and second versions of this so far. We're moving on to number 3. I'm going to try to keep it pretty quick and short here, under 10 minutes or so. These are ideas that never really made the cut for our weekly podcasts, and we'd like to talk about in person versus writing in any of our blogs or anything like that for you. So with that, I'd like to kind of get started pretty quick here. Andrew, what do you got for us?
I found something interesting while I was scrolling the Twitter the other day. It was a tweet from a business blog called Crane's Detroit Business that said that BMW is pulling out of the Detroit Auto Show. And the little byline was from the author was, "This is actually really, really big news." And I was kind of like, well, that's a little weird, I guess, but okay. And as I was reading the article...
Okay, I'll bite.
Yeah, exactly.
I shall read.
As I was reading the article, I found out that they are far, far from the first manufacturers to pull out of the Detroit Auto Show this year alone.
Really?
Yeah. So, among the people who aren't showing up, we got BMW, Mercedes-Benz, Jaguar Land Rover, Porsche, Mazda, and most of the major exotic sports car makers, and all other ultra-luxury brands, probably... Bentley, stuff like that, which seems really weird to me.
Wasn't Detroit like the creme de la creme of auto shows not too long ago?
That's always what I thought.
It was always the one
LA was always a big one.
LA, New York, Chicago, and Detroit. Those were the 4 big ones in the United States. You kind of covered, major portions of the country with LA, Chicago, and New York. You've got, the 3 kind of ways you can divide up the country, and then Detroit was always the big one because it was the home of the American auto industry. And
right.
The Americans love to show up and, show off on the home turf, and the Europeans always like to try to one-up them on their home turf, and they'd always show up with big displays.
Yeah, so of manufacturers left, we have Ford, FCA, all of the GM brands, then Hyundai, Kia, Toyota, Honda, Volkswagen, and their whole family. That I guess
it's become more of a consumer car thing than an auto industry thing.
Which is odd because Mazda's not showing up.
Right, exactly.
Why does Mazda not show up to something like this?
And we can investigate this maybe at another spark plug, but there's a lot of weird stuff going on with Mazda. Their name dropped off of Laguna Seca. Yeah. They're not showing up to Detroit. Are they in trouble? I wonder. But
speaking of trouble, actually, that's interesting that you mentioned that. There was something that I don't know that it ties into this, but also on the Twitter, I saw a story about BMW's offices in Germany getting raided by the police for alleged diesel emissions cheating. I mean, same week.
Just like everyone else.
Right, just like everyone else in the whole world.
But the same week as they pull out of the Detroit Auto Show. Did the police raid happen first? What was the... Do we know the chronological order?
Believe they pulled out of they announced their intent to pull out of the Detroit Auto Show first.
Oh. But, as Cullen Bohannon from Hell on Wheels would say, I ain't one for coincidence.
And obviously...
That's just weird...
If it is...
It smells funny, man.
Yeah, if that's what happened, we couldn't possibly tell you what any of that means. But it is interesting that happened in the same week.
Yeah.
It's got to be, as a car company, it's got to be an ROI thing, right? Like, do we spend all this money to send all these representatives and make this work with these design teams to make these fancy displays and ship all our cars over there if it doesn't result in any sort of added sales?
Yeah, that's actually kind of what they said in their statements, all business boilerplate, blah, 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 decided to withdraw from the North American International Auto Show. This decision was made, basically what they're saying is it didn't, the ROI, there was no ROI in the show. In that show.
Basically, they're saying, we don't want to come.
But the Detroit Auto Show knows that this is actually a problem. And according to this, again, that's Crane's Detroit business blog or site that we're reading this on. They're planning to move the Detroit Auto Show out of this wintry spring and into, I guess, the fallish winter, like October, in order to get better weather and reduce operating costs, it says here. I don't know how that would help necessarily. But I
Oh,
guess
this year? Or
no.
like
They're going
moving forward.
They're going to have it fully moved by 2020.
Okay.
Yeah, and I guess when you're looking at this time of year, especially in Michigan, you can run into some pretty gnarly weather. Not that that's necessarily better in October, but
Right.
The
Yeah.
show's
You know.
indoors, right?
yeah, but I mean,
So-
when you're looking at like transportation costs, all this stuff is coming in by plane and truck, and it's not worth it.
But the other thing about that is, I mean, are they really going to end up saving money on transportation costs? Because, I mean, this is the same time roughly as Chicago and Milwaukee. So
Yeah.
flipping it to
Yeah,
the
a
other
lot
end
of
of
it
the
and how
was
does-
calendar.
and-
stored, but
Not being someone in logistics or shipping, this is a genuine question. Does the time of the year, like, would it cost the same to fly a plane full of cars from Europe to the States in October as it does in March?
or a
Like,
ship.
Yeah, no
does
idea.
it matter? How is moving the date going to save on operating cost?
I really don't know.
Unless you don't have to pay the plow company extra to get there first in the morning or something.
Yeah, I don't know. It is Michigan too. It snows like stinking Michigan.
It snows like crazy in Michigan. And I think if they want to, maybe not moving the date, but maybe moving the location.
yeah.
Yeah, but
The Detroit Auto Show, held in Miami.
Oh gosh.
It
Flint.
does only say
Oh, dear
North
Lord.
American International. It could be anywhere. It could be in Mexico.
I suppose. So, yeah, I guess that's all pretty weird. I was especially shocked to learn all the people that had already pulled out of the Detroit show.
Why did we not hear about it until this BMW thing? Like, you would have thought that when the rest of them started dropping like flies, that would have...
Yeah, especially like major consumer brands. Like, I get it if it's like, okay, we're not getting the luxury stuff, we're not getting BMW, we're not getting Mercedes, but the fact that Mazda doesn't show up, I mean, although not the biggest player in the car market, they're always there.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, I haven't heard or seen of any significant closures of Mazda dealers. I mean, they're still all over the place. And
They are. Mazda is low-key positioning themselves as the luxury Japanese brand. Does anyone else kind of notice this?
true, I guess it's their only representation, but it would be that for BMW or Mercedes too, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I suppose.
So, I mean, it's odd that you would have no representation. I would imagine something like Volkswagen Group leaving Audi behind. Something like that would make more sense. Like, okay, we're gonna focus on cars that most people buy, and that's what we're gonna put our investment into at an auto show. But leaving all of that opportunity on the table by not bringing anything,
Especially
something to look
like
at.
the American industry capital. Very odd. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, they didn't pull out of Chicago or L.A.
They were definitely in Chicago.
And they had a big thing at Chicago, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they were all
Do you
done
think
up.
it's kind of like a backhanded thing at the U.S. automakers if they're not... I mean,
Maybe.
throwing some shade a little bit, maybe?
We won't come and play on your turf. We don't want to.
Very weird. Who
Yeah.
knows?
Something to think about. If you guys have, anybody out there in the podcast universe, social universe, has any, explanations or possible insights into that, we definitely like to hear them. These are all going to be on social media only for now. So, tweet back at us, comment on Facebook, shoot us an email.
Share if you think you know someone who would know the answer.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Spread it around because we'd like to solve this mystery. Let's make that the mission of this spark plug: solve the mystery of the Detroit Auto Show.
Love it.
Amen, brother.
All right, well, that about brings us to time as well. So, anybody want to sneak in anything quick?
I'm good.
All right, well, that sounds like it's about it, folks. And
Oh, I'm good.
He
Okay.
did shake his head.
yeah, that's fine. Yeah, we're still getting used to not being able to you guys not being able to see us. But yeah, that sounds like it's about it for the night. And we will, hope you guys enjoy this and look forward to your solving the mystery of the Detroit Auto Show. Have a
Help.
good one. Help. Have a good one, everybody.
See ya.